Hello you lovely lot, happy new year, hope you're all safe and well. No digging video for me this week. I've been under the weather with a chest infection, much better now, but as a result, and the horrible weather that we've had over here in the UK, I really haven't been digging at all since I was last out, which was a couple of weeks ago now. Yeah, so no digging video this week, but I have been asked a few times over recent weeks and months as to what settings I use on the Deus 2. Now, obviously, this is the point where everybody else that runs a different machine will switch off, but for those Deus 2 users, I thought it might be handy just to do a very quick video just to show you what settings I use. The great news is it's very straightforward. It's a couple of tweaks to the RELIC program, which is program 9, no more, no less. I find tons of great stuff with this particular setting. I call it NOTCH11. I am very aware, lots and lots of other programs out there that people use. I don't diss any of those. I'm sure they're all perfectly good, good programs. This is the one I've used for nearly 3 years now. I miss very little. I've been over targets with other people running other machines, including the Deus 2 on various different programs, and this particular one picks it up every time. I like it, it works for me. It's not for everyone, but if it's of interest to you, if you've been inquiring about what I use, then you're very welcome to this very short video. So yeah, as I've said, I use program 9, which is RELIC mode. The other thing to mention is I'm on 0.71. So this is one of the older system updates, 0.71. I think it's up to 2.0 now. So if your machine is running on something newer than 0.71, I can't tell you how it will react, obviously, on those newer updates. But on 0.71, this is an absolute barnstormer, in my opinion. Okay, so what do I use? So all we do is in the menu, let's just start from the beginning. We start with disk IAR, or discrete IAR. I always have this set as 5. I think that's a slight tweak to the standard settings. I have it set as 5, and then if you press expert, I also notch out 0000. What on earth does that mean? I can't tell you, but what it does mean is that I dig very, very little iron as a result. In fact, virtually none. The only time I ever dig iron is if it's very close by to a non-ferrous target and I end up getting both at the same time. But other than that, this misses very little, and it absolutely doesn't mean you're going to be digging iron all day long. It's a very stable machine, this one, so you can run it quite high on the sensitivity. It's currently set at 0, obviously, because I don't want to make it loads of noise on the video. I normally run it at 98. You can go a little bit higher, 99, obviously, if you want to. 98, pretty stable, never have an issue with it whatsoever. Now, frequency shift obviously will depend on your surroundings. So whenever I go onto the field, I always press and hold the top right-hand button, and that does a little frequency shift for me, frequency scan. So obviously that will update depending on your surroundings and when you do it yourself. Iron volume 3, so you'll hear all the grunts in your ear from the iron, which you obviously avoid, and very much so, it's very quiet other than that until you go over a non-ferrous target, and then it sings very high and very loud and very proud. Reactivity, this is the only other thing I change, 2.5 on this particular one. I'll move anywhere down to about 2, up to about 3.5, depending on the ground. So if it's a busy old ground, I'll probably raise the reactivity. If it's a quiet ground and I want a bit more depth, then I'll probably lower it. But other than that, 2.5, again, I miss very, very little with that. Audio response is 5 and threshold is 0. Most of that is standard as RELIC program. I think the only 2 key tweaks there is that disk IAR and the notch 0000. The only other thing I change, I run it on the square tones. Somebody on my last video said they really like the sound of the tones. I run it on square tones. That's all I do. It's just RELIC 9 with those two or three small changes, and I'm on the field very quickly, missing very little, and enjoying myself at the same time. So if you're a Deus 2 user, if you're new to the Deus 2 and that's helpful to you, then you're very welcome. I hope it helps, and I'll see you soon.